everyone. Once again, this is Mr. Philip, your Sayurian teacher, welcoming you to our new podcast. Well, actually not new, the second part of the hypothesis and variable identification. So if you're ready for now, what is the dependent and independent variable in scientific research? It is the study of the cause and effect. So we often want to study the cause and effect of these variables that we're studying. When we say variable, it's something that is changing. Okay, for example, the example that we had from the previous video. You want to know whether the sun has an effect to the growth of the plant. All right, so we have variables in that situation. Okay, but first, what are variables? The variables in a study of a cause and effect relationship are called your independent and dependent variables. Okay, wherein your independent variable are the causes. Okay, that is the one that is causing the effect. Okay, the effect is the dependent variable, the thing that we are measuring. Okay, basically independent variable are our treatments, or the things that we do in the experiment. Okay, so that we can measure the effect. Now, let's put that in a more concrete situation. I'll have some problems, and then we will identify the dependent and independent variable. So I have, do tomatoes grow faster under fluorescent, incandescent, or natural light? Now, what's the independent there? What is the cause of the growth of the tomato? It will be the light. And with that light, you can manipulate it. You have incandescent, you have natural, you have fluorescent. Okay, so basically also independent variables, you can manipulate them. These are the treatment that we put in the experiment that we have. Whereas, what are we measuring here? What is the effect that we're measuring? It's the rate of growth of the tomato plant. So that is our dependent variable. I have another example. How does phone use before bedtime affect sleep? So what is the independent variable? What are we changing, or what can we change there? It will be the amount of time of phone use, okay, before bedtime. All right, so you can study some people who are using their phone 10 minutes before bedtime, 30 minutes before bedtime, 60 minutes before bedtime. And then what are we going to measure afterwards? What will be, that is the test or the thing that we are putting in that experiment. It will eventually have an effect. And what will be the effect? It will have an effect to the number of hours of sleep, or the sleep quality of the people that you are studying. All right? So again, independent variables are something that we can manipulate. It is the cause of what we are studying. We can change the level, the intensity, and the amount of the independent variable. Just like in the first problem that we have with the tomato, the type of light, okay, you can make it incandescent, you can make it natural, you can make it fluorescent, okay? And then the dependent variable is the effect or the result, something that we cannot manipulate, okay? This is the result of the things that we manipulated, okay? This is the effect or the result that we are trying to measure, okay, or trying to know. All right, experiment example. You are studying the impact of the medication on the blood pressure of the patients with hypertension. When we say hypertension, the blood pressure of the people are high, okay, darah tinggi in bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so to test whether the medication is effective, you divide your patients into two groups, wherein one will take the medication and the other one will not take the medication. They will just take a placebo. A placebo is basically like a fake drug. It's just going to be like a sugar pill, okay? And then in that situation, the independent variable will be the medication. Okay, because you can change the medication. It can be like 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, okay, or no medication at all, which is basically your control group. All right, and what will be the dependent variable there? The level of blood pressure of the patient. All right, and then we can also visualize the dependent and independent variable. So how do we visualize it? When we plot the result, okay? The x-axis is where you put your independent variable, and your y-axis, or the vertical one, is where you put your dependent variable. All right. So in summary, again, we've discussed about variables. Variables may be dependent and independent. The independent is the cause. The dependent is the effect. And we also studied on the first part of our video about hypothesis. So we know that hypothesis is an intelligent guess. It explains what you explains what you expect to happen. It is clear and understandable. It's testable and measurable, and of course, it contains the dependent and independent variable. All right, and that's all we have for this podcast. Again, this is Mr. Philip. I'd see you again on the next podcast. Bye.